Welcome to my channel, The Three Mountains. My name is Sophia. I would like to tell you today a message that Master Samael wants to convey to all of you. And I will start by saying what he told me in the astral. He said that life is a journey towards death. And each day that passes, we get closer to death. Now, I need to mention that my mom, my physical mom, Amelia, disincarnated this February 2024. And of course, it is not easy for me to be here, but I would like to pass you this message, an important message, because most people live life thinking that there is life, but actually we are all on the road towards death. And what happens when we arrive to that point? There are two options that come to pass, or two roads. On one road, the person disincarnates, his film, his story is rewinded like a film, non-stop, till he or she becomes a baby, and then he is sent back inside the wheel. Normally, that occurs to the majority of humanity because the ego is alive. But there is another road, and this is the other road that Master Samael showed us, the road towards killing the ego. So if you are on the path of killing the ego, when death comes, then what happens is that person disincarnates, gets separated from his or her physical body, and if that person is old, like my mom Amelia was when she disincarnated, then her film in the astral is rewinded. But Master Samael told me that he will stop her film at a point where she is healthy enough and conscious enough, and her film will stop from being rewinded. Because if it is not stopped, then all her lessons and everything that she learned in this life will get lost. And in that way, the film is stopped, and she gets to stay inside the third mountain. So it's very interesting because all these things I've been learning all these past months. There was, of course, the mourning process, and it was very painful. I was waiting for her to come to live with me and my son. I did not expect at all that she will pass away. So I had a lot of confusion, pain, and lots of questions that I needed to, I needed the answers. Where is she? What happened to her? What stage of the path did she reach? Etc., etc. So, as the truth needs to be told, here I am, for you to know that this is the road to death. And at some point, we all need to get through. But please listen to my video, to this audio, and then meditate on what I say. I'm sorry if it's not. I have not planned it very well. This is as it is. 2 nights ago, I woke up inside the psychological city or psychological town of a guy, because it is easy for me to look at somebody, concentrate or focus on somebody, and then enter his astral or her astral. So what I saw was not nice. It was a very poor town, not because of the poverty, but because of the thieves and all sorts of, how can I say, bad things going on in that town. I could see that this guy was living in a room inside a building, a wooden building, and he was enjoying the view from his window and showing me on pointing at children in the streets who were entering the neighbors' homes just to steal. So everywhere you turn around, you could see people stealing from each other. And there was a woman there, and who was, in these towns, sex is given for free, and so he was also calling her to his room to come, to make friends with him. And I knew that this would turn into a sexual act. So I said to him, I'm leaving. I don't want to be here. When I went downstairs, I noticed that the whole town was about stealing from each other, betraying each other. It was horrible. I only wanted to get out, and I did so. I also remember that in that town there was snow. It was cold. People were dressed as beggars. And when I finally got out of the town, the town was called Winter. And finally I was on the road with my things, and I was happy that I left. And I woke up in my bed. Master Samael taught about the psychological city, that each one of us carries a psychological city. We live inside a town or a city, and the people inside our city are the egos that we need to get rid of or eliminate with the petition to the Divine Mother. And it takes time. Master Samael mentioned that each person has at least 10,000 egos in his or her city. So this is an example of a person with his psychological city. I'm not here today to repeat that teaching of Master Samael. What I want you to know, to understand, is that when you enter the path of the 3 mountains, you commit yourself to working on killing your egos. So the number of egos in your own psychological city will be decreasing according to your work, your inner work of death on your egos. And so you will go through the first mountain and then enter the second mountain, where the work is more difficult. Now, time goes by. This is a long, long journey of many, many years. And we go through lots of situations and suffering voluntarily in order to get rid of our own egos. Now, I do remember hearing one video of Master Samael saying that when he was teaching, one of his students, after he disincarnated or before he disincarnated, I'm not sure, he said or taught to people that it is not possible to get rid of one's egos completely. And that is false. That is completely false, because when you are ending the second mountain, in order to enter the third mountain, you have to pass through the great renunciation. You renounce everything, all your possessions, everything that you have built, everything that you have acquired, and you go on a journey with just one suitcase with your belongings, and that's it. And you enter the third mountain, where all the rest of any ego larva, will be taken away from you, and you will be left without egos. Now, why am I mentioning this? What I want you to understand is that if I enter somebody's psychological city, yes, and I have done so many times in the past, imagine yourself traveling along the road and you come to a town and you enter and suddenly you realize that it's a dangerous town. Would you like to stay there? Would you like to risk it and stay there and be killed? So that's what happened to me a long time ago. I remember entering the psychological city of a lady, and she asked me to do that. And I do remember that from the moment I entered, the whole sky was red. So I knew I was in the hells, and the whole town was in darkness, and everything was of a blood color. And I felt that fear, and you feel danger. It's like entering a horror movie, and you don't want to be there. But I remember going, because my intuition was saying, go enter that building where she was living. And I remember entering the house or the flat where she was living. And once I entered there, I could see that there was no light, that there were thieves that had come, and that they threw all the lamps, table lamps, standing lamps, through the window and onto the street. So the whole house was in darkness. And they also threw away a photo of Master Samael. And I could hear the voice of my being at that moment saying, don't stay too long, because these people will come back, and if they find you, they will kill you, the same as they did with Master Samael. So, what I'm trying to teach you is this. When you pass gnosis to somebody, you need to do the work of killing the egos. If you're not constant with observation and working towards the death of your egos, then what happens is that the light that you were growing inside you. Thieves come, the egos come, and they bring darkness back again. So they even can kill Master Samael, as it had happened to this woman inside herself. So she was not believing anymore in Master Samael and his teachings. So I remember I sent her back the message, the email, a long email explaining to her that what I saw in the astral and inside her psychological city. And she begged me, and she said that it was true, that she had how can I say, put aside gnosis. And because people were telling her that this is not right, I don't know, other people don't want you to follow the truth. It's difficult. So I don't blame anybody, because we have periods where we feel weak and we feel like we keep a distance. There are other moments, there are other times where we again pick up the teachings and start again. So what I'm saying is this: the important thing is trying not to let go completely. Even if you're going through a rough time, you need to remain firm in the teachings of Gnosis. Now, the interesting thing is that after I sent her this long email telling her that she had quit Gnosis, and of course darkness had entered her astral and, taken control, the egos take control again of her psychological city, that there was no light inside. All light had been put out. So she said to me that she wanted to try again, and this time she will not let go so easily from the teachings. And she did so. After a few months, she sent me an email again saying that she had a beautiful astral where she was in a park and she was walking there and she saw the statue of Master Samael. And when she approached that statue, I think that the statue spoke to her or smiled at her. I don't remember very well. And that said something like, "I'm alive." And she was very happy when she woke up that Samael was again alive. Now, let's go back. Why am I saying all this? Throughout my videos, the first thing I have taught you is to follow and obey your intuition. Your intuition is that ray of light that connects you with God, not the voices of the mind. So that intuition is the one that guides you along the path, along the whole path. And it will help you go through thick and thin and be safe. When you will reach the point where all the egos have been removed or killed in the second mountain, then what will happen to that psychological city? That is something that Master Samael has not spoken about. And this is what I want to tell you. So suddenly we have an empty city because we have removed everybody. So think about it. So when you manage to remove all the egos, you are allowed to enter the third mountain. And what happens then? It is what Master Samael said. If the ego is there, the being is not there. If there is no ego, then the being is there. So it means that the person is ready for the incarnation of Atman. I want to clarify this. A person, when is starting the path, can hear many voices inside his head or her head, the chatty mind with lots of voices. And those voices come from the many egos that have taken control of the mind, the heart, the motor center, etc. When that person reaches the point of incarnating Atman, there is only one voice inside himself or herself. That's the voice of Atman, the being. Actually, when I said to you, follow and obey your intuition, yes, that is one voice, one, how can I say, sometimes it's inaudible voice that tries to stand out among the many voices of the ego. When finally Atman enters you, you only hear your being, and there are no other voices or many voices inside you, your head, your heart. And here at this point, I want you to remember the book of Ezekiel. And if you check online the summary of the chapters of that book, you will notice that it's about the path where God left Israel, yes, and in the final part of the book, then it speaks about building again the temple and the city for the people, where God descends once again, but this time to live there permanently and forever. So that, that God descending again to live in the temple, whereas before it departed because there was, it was invaded, yes? That is the descent of Atman inside your heart, inside you, okay? When you reach the third mountain. I hope you are getting the image, yes? We're talking about coming out of the wheel, of Ezekiel's wheel, yes, that takes the whole of the second mountain, and then coming out of the wheel and finally incarnating Atman Buddhi. And that's when we are talking about the new city. That psychological city is no longer full of egos, but this time in that city we have Atman, or God, that has descended again. So if you ask me what is inside my psychological city, I will tell you, Samael is there constantly. Samael is in my house, in my home. And people who follow Gnosis, I see them in the astral, that those that take Gnosis and follow Gnosis, I see them that suddenly I have a new neighbor in my city, and they are my neighbors. Yes, so that's the interesting thing that happens. So there is this building of a new city, as it was predicted or in the vision of Ezekiel. So I encourage you to go and check that book again, because it's important for you to understand this process of destroying the ego and rebuilding the city. One final thing that I would like to tell you is that I realized by Samael, who told me in the astral, that if you notice, Master Samael disincarnated when he finished the second mountain. After finishing, he was given the scroll where he was stating that he had finished the second mountain. And what I realized is that what he said to me is that not everybody, not everybody enters the third mountain with their physical body alive. Most people disincarnate when they finish the second mountain. It's a long process, and Master Samael himself disincarnated at that point. And he told me this because I could not understand where my mom, Amelia, was. And I was not expecting her to come to live with us and disincarnate. So after she passed away, I was lost. I wanted to know. I had many questions and I needed to find the answers. She was 75 years old and she disincarnated. Her body was not healthy anymore. So that was the answer that Samael gave me, that in her case as well, she disincarnated finishing the second mountain and she entered the third. Throughout my journey, my personal journey, when I came to the UK, as soon as I found out about Gnosis and the teachings, I was constantly in touch with her. So I did not know that by telling her about Gnosis, she was also changing and going through changes herself. So I think that I have other things to tell you about Amelia, but this video will be up to here. I want to end this audio here, and I thank you for your emails. But please do not write emails to me because I am not replying to them. I want you to devote your time to killing the ego because, as I said before, as long as you do not work on killing the egos, it is difficult for Samael to enter your psychological city and not be killed by your egos. The same as for me, it is difficult to go and stay inside somebody's psychological city and visit you without danger. I just pack my things like I did, and I want to leave because I don't feel safe. So you need to understand that if you are not making progress, is because you are not working on killing your egos. So that is important. If you want to progress and continue growing in light, you need to work on killing the enemy within. Thanks for watching.